Welcome back, everybody, to another Two Tamers Talk. We have a new combo.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to do this yet.
Hasn't happened yet. The double J's.
I am super stoked, man. Justin, how you doing, man?
Doing great. We got off of our first pre-release. We did the box pre-release recently.
We did?
Nothing in terms of events, but really excited for the new set. A lot of new cards, a lot of new archetypes that I'm looking forward to play.
Yeah.
Except we got to get through these pre-release weekends
We got to get through this stuff first. And I just want to take like a little time out because I privately congratulated you, but I have to publicly congratulate you again for Nats, top 64. You guys are awesome.
Still living the high.
Yeah, man.
Honestly.
It's super
really
cool.
good time.
I don't get to do this every week anymore, so it's kind of nice to be able to get on here and just say, I think you guys are awesome players, and I'm really happy that you guys are in the scene. It's just crazy to me how well you guys just jumped in, because you guys have not been playing since the beginning, like some of us. And you're just really competitive players, and I really appreciate you guys being in the scene. I'm a huge sports fan. I know Basil's he played sports. He knows how to do that stuff. He's in the building, by the way. He's over there.
Yeah, say hi.
Oh, yeah.
But the way I kind of think of you guys is one of my favorite football players. If you guys don't know, I'm a Broncos fan. I wear the jerseys all the time. Is Payton Manning, and I think he's a really big inspiration. So I'm going to take a little segue here because he said something in his retirement speech that I really think applies to you guys. And he says, I'm probably going to paraphrase this or screw this up, but he said something to the effect of,
there were other players who were more talented, but there was no one who could out-prepare me.
and I think about that every time I ask Basil, hey, do you want me to help me test this crappy deck? And he's like, we have regionals in a week. I'm busy. And I'm like, okay, I got it. Yeah.
And then we go and play the same matchup like 20 times in a single day.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of miserable, but...
So yeah, I think it's awesome how well you guys jump in and do that stuff. And it's really cool to see you guys come back and reap all the rewards and bring all the glory back to our local scene. So
you're gonna make me cry.
All right. Well, we'll cut off that. So I beat you. No, just kidding.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean,
anyways,
what can you do?
So since last week, we've had locals and we've had a pre-release. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of why I think, on the podcast this week.
You're kind of on a run.
Yeah.
You're setting us up just so like this sounds so much better. You're like, yeah, thanks for coming to our scene, but I destroyed you twice in a row.
I didn't play you last. I didn't play you in pre-release.
That's true.
Wednesday we played for the finals. I jumped back on the Machine Dramon train, I guess you'd call it, the machine. And I had some good success. Basil and I have I would put the deck profile out, but Basil and I have kind of a special thing coming up. So
I don't even know what this is. But
good.
the deck list did change too, because
it did change. Yep.
I think one of the cooler parts about new sets, and I was kind of alluding to this earlier, is that a lot of the older decks and just like the decks that we have on the channel, they change a lot, which is hard for you guys, or I guess it's good because it just means you guys do more profiles. But before you even release it, it got changed in like in a single set,
a single week. Yeah, there's new pieces for it. So stay tuned to the channel. We're going to have a really fun Machine Dramon thing because Basil's a machine enthusiast and I'm a machine just veteran player. I've been playing it since EX1.
I think you infected Basil. Like first locals was like, oh, that deck is really cool because he started off with Reaper. This is some lore update. Not really. You probably know it if you guys are loyal channels or loyal fans to the channel.
Yeah.
But he started with D Reaper, and then you see this deck, and it's like you hard played a level 6.
Yeah.
You gave them 6 memory, but like look at this giant thing that you can't kill. It's really interesting because it's like one of those decks where you look over and you're like, what?
Yeah.
If you've never played the game before, but
hard play for 12, gain 7, blah blah, or gain 5, play for 7, and then like I played you, and you're just like Imperial, bounce it instantly.
Yeah, that was
before Chaosmon was even a card from EX3.
Yeah. Back then, blue was a lot worse for Machine.
Yeah,
I think it was funny because I was saying it at finals in the local we played about a week ago. I was playing Leomon, and I was playing Jesse just to win out. This is last match, right?
Yeah, it was last match. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is a classic because prior to this, we played a lot. Always at the final table. And I would be playing Imperial, you'd be playing Machine. and you would look at me and you're just like,
Yeah.
Megadeth?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
For
Doesn't
real.
protect from bounds. But now things have changed. You got a lot more tools.
Yeah, back then it was just I just kept playing it until you ran out of Megadeaths, but you would net 2 memory on that play every single time. So you'd be able to do just a little bit more and then Megadeath me again, and then I'd play it for 7, and then you'd Megadeath me again. And so I was just trying to play you out
And
of
this
Megadeath.
was before Analog Man, too. So the old fighter mode, the BT8 one, used to have the when attacking text, suspend it.
Yep.
So, like, no redirect. Can't use your blocker.
No
It's pretty-
Chaos Dramon to stop from
pretty,
bouncing. No nothing. Yeah, it
Man,
was-
Imperial Dramon back then was crazy. Now
Yeah.
you can, like, I thought that deck was fast when I first started playing. I'm like, this deck can't be bad. It's
Yeah.
just so memory efficient.
goes wide.
Memory
yeah.
efficient for the time,
Mhm.
right? But then it goes wide, it spits out bodies. You used HPD really well, and then
Mhm.
it, like, pressured you really hard when you're at 3 or 4 security. But nowadays, man, the decks are a lot more sticky, have a lot more text.
Yeah.
A lot of them have blocker. Imperial Dramon is showing some age. Hopefully BT16 helps. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. BT16, I think it does. I really like the new top end for Imperial coming up. The new fighter mode, I think. The new fighter, I don't know. Dragon mode. Yeah, the aces. That's what it is. Thanks, Basil.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we had that. So we had that. I took the W there. So that's, guys, my entire goal in life is just to win 1 tournament per format. That's
No,
it. Because that's really all I get to do. Otherwise, it's like these 2 jabronis and some other great players from the shop that just jump in and we just have a really, really competitive scene. So I don't get to win very often. So
No,
when
but
I do, I'm pretty
think,
stoked.
I think it's awesome when the scene is super competitive
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, this is a little bit biased, but I don't really like it when it's just like me and Basil are gonna run over every tournament. I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of the players, especially recently, have gotten a lot better. I mean, we had 3 people top Nats, top 64. Our local scene has gotten a lot better. A lot more people just are more open to talk about how to be better or how to get better deck lists and build stronger decks. And it's sick because it makes the entire scene better, just a little bit better, and it makes the environment, right?
Yeah.
Players are going to play better.
Yep.
You're going to be better because players are playing better. You're going to make a lot less mistakes.
You
and
also
it's-
attract better players that
Right.
come in because we had that. I mean, we've always had a really fun atmosphere environment at Wayward, but we were kind of known in the community as the where you go to play fun decks and
Sure.
stuff like that. And I think over the past 18 months or so, past year, 18 months, 12 to 18, just with the inclusion of you guys and the big tournaments that are coming closer, and I think it's just gotten a lot more competitive, but still kept that edge of a good time and a good
Yeah.
environment. So
I'll never
I
trade
really
that
love the
away.
balance.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
it's a teetering balance. You know, but I think we're in a great spot, and I really enjoy every locals. Because you're going to see a lot of competitive stuff, but you're also going to see it also helps people with their fun decks make them more competitive.
Yeah.
You know, you're starting to see like that the ruin mode go into somebody's like I play it in Lord
Yeah.
Knight, or you'll see it in somebody's just Beelzemon deck. You know, people are just like, oh, this card's really good.
Cards really well because
Put it in. Yeah.
when you play against it, a lot of people start realizing it's like when good cards are played against you, you're like, wow, that card's really good.
Yeah.
So people start putting it in their decks and finding more creative ways. And I think that's awesome, especially with the in the future Bandai's trying to merge all the sets. I don't know if we've talked about that formally. But
yeah, we talked about it on a
Yeah.
couple podcasts ago. By spring of 2025, we should have worldwide releases.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing is that even if you're playing a road deck or a weaker deck, those weaker decks can be really competitive. I mean,
Yeah.
Nats was a really, really good. I mean, I talked about it a ton on the last time I was on, but Nats showed that, hey, there's some really strong deck builders. And I think I'll steal words from Basil. The reason why he plays a lot of off-meta stuff is a lot of the fun is trying to make a subpar strategy or a weaker strategy really consistent and really good as possible. And that's kind of what you guys do with the deck lists on the channel. You guys test it, you guys play it a ton.
Yeah.
And then eventually, even if it's a bad deck, I mean, Ragnarlord is going to be Ragnarlord forever until maybe BT.
Well, the new stuff. The new stuff looks good.
The new stuff.
Yeah.
The new stuff looks really good.
It looks scary. Yeah.
But that's the sick part is
Yeah.
we want to make these locals, or at least in my opinion, yeah, you want to be competitive, but also make these decks as good as you can. And then maybe in the future, if you want to play in a regional and you really, really like a specific strategy, you're going to know more about it than every single other person in that environment, and especially regionals. So, And a lot of people were talking about the kind of the balance. A lot of the more casual players or some of the people that are friends of the channel are more interested in playing in these tournaments. So I think that's sick.
Yeah.
Really happy with the scene. For sure.
My favorite part is like you guys do that crazy rigorous testing for Nats because you're like meta decks, but then like you'll run to locals and you'll be like, Lord Knight hard counter or just something rogue, you know, Dark Knight, something you didn't test, and all of a sudden
I gotta look at these cards.
Let's figure this out, I guess. And it's like there's only so many things you can test against, and I think that the way that the formats have been lately, I mean, big shout out to Bandai because I think we're in the best spot we've ever been.
They're knocking it out of the park. Outside of the, I'm really glad we have our locals. No one is playing Anubis, and no one is going to play a POC. Probably, I don't know. Maybe
I think we might see it we might see some splashed in, and go for it. It is what it is, you know,
for sure. But other than that, I think that we'll see when the regional results come out and the Ultimate Cups come out.
Yeah,
but this format is really diverse. I mean, Bandai's doing. I mean, they've done an incredible job. Future-proofing some of the stuff. They're really quick to respond to the toxic stuff. I'm really glad that, although Anubis is really strong, we got to play it for however long. But after these bans, I was talking with another friend that does a lot of testing. Shout outs to Carson if you listen to this podcast. But I was talking to him. I don't even know what the best deck is for the BT15 format.
Yeah.
Off the top of your head, can you name what is going to win every tournament? I have like a few guesses.
Yeah. Red Hybrids is still going to be really strong because they haven't touched that one yet.
Yeah,
Mirage is great.
Shine.
That's the other thing I was going to talk about is just like you show up to a locals and you see someone play a Shine deck that they haven't touched since BT13. You're still scared.
Yeah, I'm horrified.
It's 7 months old. You know, it's still a great deck. You know, so I love that Bandai they're just doing a great job at just making sure that if your favorite Digimon is X, we're going to eventually try and give it enough support so you can play X,
right?
You know, so it's like what Basil was talking about, Numamon. Like there's a million cards for it. It's got to be good eventually. They just gave us new pieces for Machine to make it competitive again. Cool. Again. So it's like, don't get rid of your cards, guys. If you have a favorite Digimon and you're like, this deck's never going to be good, you're going to be rebuying those cards that you just got rid of eventually. It's like there's already a lot of speculation about should you keep your playset of a Pokemon?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Somebody will find a deck, and maybe they still keep it at 1. You should keep a Pokemon. I mean, that card is amazing. But I think, I can't tell exactly when it happened, but after like a certain BT set, I feel like those decks that came out of the sets are still amazing. I mean, you still have people playing Mastemon and trying to make it work. All the new Angel stuff is really, really good. Eventually, Imperial Dramon in one more set will be great again. I mean, I think after BT9, everything forward after that point is still really playable.
I think so too.
Black War Gray Toolbox, I think, is always amazing. I think the red base can still see competitive light, and that's from like BT 10 and 11. I think Ulforce is still really good.
That could come back too. I mean, all they have to do is give you another arena or something. I mean, Mastemon is a great example because
timeless, right?
If you guys know James from the channel, our Mastemon buddy, he gave up on the deck. He said, "I'll play it later when it gets better," and sold his golds. And now all of a sudden, you need those again.
You need those again.
Like, new Mireille, like all that new Angel support. The deck is going to be competitive again.
I mean, you printed enough cards.
Yeah.
Eventually, any archetype will be good. I think the Numamon thing from BT15 is amazing. I mean, it's kind of surprising because prior you looked at these cards like, eventually this will be good. I don't know when.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but eventually it'll be good. And then after the Apocalypse ban and the Anubis ban, other regions are like, wow, this engine is amazing. Also, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing because it's really reflective of Yu-Gi-Oh! But they're giving us a lot of splashable engines.
Yeah.
And when I say engines, it's just like 2 cards that you can play in any deck. I think Ukomon is phenomenal. This card goes into you can drop 2 of your worst rookies and put 2 Ukomons in, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
So as long as they keep giving us that, it's like these older archetypes will always, I wouldn't say viable in a competitive, like ultra competitive, but even then, these decks will surprise you. Gotcha Green, BT1 cards are being played, guys.
Yep.
So hold your old cards and be creative. It's the best time because this is one of the rare cases where we're not following a format that's like 1-to-1 to Japan.
Yeah.
So
I think that there's certain archetypes. I mean, I can name a couple off my head, like Gallantmon. Like Gallantmon is kind of on the back burner and kind of a C tier deck right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that cards like, or archetypes like that are always just one or two really good cards away from coming back. I mean, we have the Dramon Ace coming out.
The card is kind of good.
Kind of good, but it's like you never know what the next set's going to be.
Yeah.
And they're always doing like new reveals. Like every other month, it's like, okay, here's a new set. And you're just like, please pick my favorite Digimon and give it support, So we've seen Diaboromon in BT17. The first leaks are Diaboromon. So we know what the black archetype's going to be in that set, but we don't know about anything else.
So we'll see.
I
mean, Diaboromon, when was that like a popular strategy? Because again, I came in when the game wasn't like, super popular. But
it's always borderline been a meme kind of thing.
But eventually, Bandai will hear the calls.
Yeah.
They do the surveys a lot, and apparently Diaboromon's really, really popular.
It's really popular. The funny thing is they've kind of crapped on it from the beginning because the first BT1 Omni, which is a fanboy card, is a direct counter to Diaboromon. It just nukes every token. So they've had it out for Diaboromon since the beginning. But they've thrown us a promo here and there,
just drip feeding because they can't do it with every archetype, or else we'd have a million cards in the game.
I think they were with Diaboromon. I think they were testing the waters early on with tokens because from that all the way until the Gold Dramon, I don't think we got any other tokens other than the Sukamon turn thing into a thing.
But that's not really a token.
Yeah.
And then they released a set where they're like, here, have this thing that spawns a token.
Now there's 20 different tokens.
There's 20. They're like, this is fine.
Now there's the Fujitsumon token, and there's another one. Something that plays itself. I don't know. There's more tokens than there ever has been.
Out a token. I can't remember all of them. Whatever.
Because there's the one that's in the Leviamon. The Octomon spits out the Fujitsumon. Yeah. But so I think that they're finally just giving up and say, hey, we're gonna do tokens.
Just deal with it.
Just deal with it.
Okay.
Relax.
It's not that big of a deal as long as the person that's playing it has like, actual representation of the tokens.
Yeah.
If they don't, I think it's a little bit more annoying. But
it's definitely. I was playing against James. Is playing Leviamon on webcam, and him trying to say there's a token on your field through Discord is really awkward
webcam.
Because with Leviamon, you have to count bodies on both boards, and it's really awkward. He's like, remember 3 turns ago, I put a token suspended on your board?
Dice or something? I don't know. How do you represent it?
Yeah, and you're just like,
I didn't even think
remember.
about the webcam logistics. That's probably why I don't know exactly why, but Digimon came out during an age where there couldn't be a lot of in-person tournaments.
Couldn't be any,
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, webcam. Well, how do I represent a token? I guess I'll tear a piece of paper and this is a token, but now we're basically out. Hope there's more in-person tournaments. I think there's 1 or 2 more regionals that are in person this time.
I think there's one in Texas, and then there's one in like Kentucky or Tennessee over there. So hoping we get one in Seattle. That's kind of Seattle or Portland, please, man.
One time.
I
don't want to fly to Cali again.
Basil's trying to get me to fly to Tennessee. I'm not doing that.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
No, Basil. The answer is no.
All of the fans, let us know if you want us to be in Tennessee for the regional.
Not going to happen.
It's at a golf course.
Oh, wow.
I thought it's at a Hilton.
Yeah, it's connected to a golf course.
Oh, okay.
It's like Banner's got money like that nowadays.
Oh, man. But anyway, so we had that was the last tournament of EX5 format that we played in. And then on Sunday, we had a pre-release. Yeah. We had the best thing. If you guys are in the Pacific Northwest and you like to play in pre-releases, you have to come to Wayward City Games.
Have to.
I hate the 6-pack tournaments. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite, and I actually really like the 6-pack tournaments.
It's not my thing. That's the 6-packs are just, it's so up to luck, and I think that kind of takes a little bit of the pre-work out of it.
Sure.
You're just like, because you get, 72 cards?
I got 72 cards, and I have to put 40 in my deck.
But you don't pick the 40 that you want. You pick the 32 that are the worst when you do the 6-pack, Sure. So if you guys don't know, Wayward City Games, they do an awesome pre-release every set. It's a box.
Yeah.
You buy a box, and you get the pre-release support, and you have an hour to build out of the entire box, which is so much fun.
I'll just say, sometimes the box is both good and bad. Depends on the set, what's in the set. I can't remember what pre-release it was. There was a set where all of the filler cards were blockers, and there's no spot removal.
13.
Yeah, BT13, the Royal Knight set was absolutely miserable. It's like if you got a box pre-release, you're like, okay, well, there's no spot removal, so what else is new? And then it's like, okay, what top end is good? Okay, it's a top end that spits out more blockers. Okay, awesome. And I
Jumbo, Jumbo was the king of that.
I'll always remember that pre-release as the pre-release where I had like 7 bodies on board. I looked at my opponent and said, 7 bodies on board and lethal isn't presenting itself. That sucks. But on the other side, when the set is really good and the options are plentiful and the strategies are varied, box pre-releases are awesome.
Yes.
Because you can lean into specific archetypes. You can really, really play off of what you pull instead of being like, okay, well, these commons are amazing, so I'm going to play them. Or this spot removal is really amazing, so I'm going to play around them. I think, especially in this set, it's a Mega Zoo set. It's sick. You can play all the Dark Masters. You can hard play them. You get spot removal off of them. Or you can go maybe the yellow package and play around the yellow options.
Yeah, I saw quite a few different options. I think we had 14 or 16 players. I went with the red package. I kind of skipped ahead. I looked ahead. Yeah, the red removal was really good in this set.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Garudamon Ace, the Meteor Wing, I thought was insane.
Yeah, I immediately gravitated to that too, right?
I had a full play set out of a box, and I was like, we're gaming. I got that. I got 4 Soras. Even the spot removal on the Digimon themselves.
Yeah,
it's the first time you've seen that.
There's
Like
a lot of them, right?
Once per turn main, pitch 2 memory, and delete a body.
Yeah, delete a body with less DP than yours.
Brilliant. Like
Yeah.
that's what you need in pre-release. You need removal, and you can either go like removal or blockers, but the Garudamon deleted blockers, so
Yeah,
it was
sick.
really good against the Orumon. Popped that a few times. I saw people going with the black-green route with the Ryudamon and stuff. I just felt that was a little bit slower.
It's just because anytime here's a tip if you want to try to win your pre-releases at your locals. Memory efficient is very, very important.
Yeah.
You can't play things. I mean, you can in a 6-pack one. Obviously, you're gonna have to play what you draw.
Get. Yeah.
But the I can't remember the Digimon's name, but the level 3 that evolves onto a specific thing that says Evo for 1 instead. And if you don't have all the eggs, I mean, in a 6-pack too, right? You're not gonna have them.
Yeah.
That one memory will hurt you.
It does. Yeah.
It's pre-releases are always awesome to me personally because it really tests your deck building and being like, okay, what synergies can I spot? There's a lot of 2-card combos that do X things, and it's like, is it worth playing it? And then your ratios are now different, and you have to play around a like a genuine hard-earned win condition because it's no longer like, okay, well, I guess I'm just like Rookie Rush or MOTK. This is like, okay, well, if I play Rookie Rush, you're gonna run out of cards. You're gonna run out of rookies because
and there was no 2-cost rookies in this set.
no 2-cost.
So
rookies,
that's always good for, I think, the pre-release format. The reason I really like this set in pre-release is because we had keywords galore on rookies. We had retail, we had jamming, we had reboot, we had
you had rookies that drew. The Mucho Mon.
The Mucho Mon, really good.
And it played perfectly with the red option, right? If you wanted to refill your hand and find your outs to different things, you use the Mucho Mon package, you chip at their security. Just in case anyone doesn't know, the option kills a 13K, but minus 2K of that threshold, or 15K.
No, it kills a 15, yeah.
15K.
It can kill a Pokemon if they have no security. So my strategy was to chip at their security with all the jamming.
And that's another strategy.
And then all of a sudden, I can 4-cost kill your APOC. Because I did run into a player that had 2 Apocalymons because he pulled a regular and an Altar.
Horrifying.
He got both of them out on game 1, and I'm just like, we're done with this game.
Okay,
and then we just went on to the second one, and it's
16? Oh, 16 in my 40-card deck?
Terrible. Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Absolutely.
I didn't pull a Pokemon, so couldn't play around that. So I had to go the full rookie route. Right.
And then we had pretty much a blue Bushimon. We had the Seedramon. So we had a 5-cost with Rush. And so if you guys haven't played in a pre-release, it's not uncommon for your opponent to not have anything to do other than give you a lot of memory and play like a level 6.
Yeah, well, I mean, even the Phoenixmon on play. If your opponent has 3 or more security, burn one.
Yeah.
If they have less,
delete
lowest DP.
Yep.
And it's on deletion says the same thing. So a lot of the times you could just like play Phoenixmon.
Yep.
And it was an 11-cost option that stuck a body on the board, kind of had like a weird delay effect, like an option from the memory setters. It was a card that gained value just by, you could just Hard play it.
And if they delete it, it's in your trash. If you have Soras, it can come right back out.
It comes
so
right
it's
back
pretty
out, right?
interesting. My favorite thing about pre-release was just all the Megazoo counters. There was 2 matches in particular where it was just Cannon Dramon, and then they would Cannon Dramon, and then I would Cannon Dramon, and whoever ran out of Cannon Dramons lost.
Yeah.
Because they just deleted it. It's a really awkward card because your opponent has to give you 5 memory.
Yeah, because
For it to not delete
its condition is how much memory does it have on either turn.
Yeah. So you have to give them 4 to delete something, and they have to give you 5 for you to not delete something.
Yeah,
which is just enough to play a Dramon with Rush.
and there it is,
which
right?
is really good. Yeah.
And this is one of those cases where you get to play a game of Digimon that you'll never play in a traditional constructed format. Obviously, if you get together with your friends and you make a deck only with this set, I mean, it's the same thing as a pre-release. But constructed decks do not play like that.
No.
And it's very, I would say, like primal, very back to basics. You kind of have to understand, okay, if I swing with this level 4 and I give them 3 memory, they will raise their level 4, evolve into a level 5, and swing over my level 4.
Yeah.
And that is an interaction that you just have to know.
And it comes with experience.
Right.
Being able to identify cards that are good specifically in this format is something that doesn't come with just playing in regular tournaments.
Yeah,
it's
playing
something
regular
where
tournaments, like I know what Creepymon does. I know what Leviamon does. I can play around these cards. This one is like, okay, what's in the set, first of all? If I swing at security and this dies, how bad is it for me?
Yeah.
And then it's stuff like that. These are things that you never consider.
Yeah.
And it really tests the fundamental knowledge, I guess, that you have of like, how do you genuinely make a win condition?
How do you win a pre-release?
Yeah,
you
how
have
do
to
you win a pre-release?
compartmentalize. Like, does this set? Okay, this is all the removal in this set.
Yeah.
This is all, and then you have to figure out what it has in common, how it works, because options still need the color requirements.
Yeah.
So how can I trigger that? So, I'll post my deck list and stuff, but it was fun. It was
a lot of
really fun.
This was a good pre-release.
It was-
I'm
it
glad
was
I went
good.
to this one for sure. Because the options were awesome. The aces were cool. You have to have the same color requirement. So building, like if you got the green aces, it's like, okay, can I build around a green?
I stayed away from green as a whole in this
Most of the time,
entire format or the entire pre-release. It wasn't my preferred method. I didn't think it was that strong, this format. I thought red was insane for pre-release.
Well, red, and then if you had an Apoclymon, turns out milling a third of their deck is quite
pretty good. Yeah. So,
especially when games don't end on turn like 5, turn 8, and then they're at 15 cards. Like, oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
So
shout out to Nito. We played for the finals, and he splashed in. He had the APOC stuff, but also running like the Magna Dramon and the LM Publimon or whatever
that card
it
was
is.
crazy.
Yeah, the card that recovers itself if it survives at the end of battle, which
And
is
then
really
it's a security
interesting.
Digimon.
Yeah, and it
it's
comes right
like-
back out. So
And that's another cool 2-card combo is the blue rookie, the Betamon. I can't remember if it was Betamon, but had jamming as its inherited.
yeah.
Swing jamming with the Pulumon, put it on top of your security, and health is a big deal in pre-releases.
Yeah.
So
Especially in sets where there's little to no recovery.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
really crazy. Another cool thing is kind of worth mentioning, but pre-releases that have other sets cards in the box.
Oh, that was
are
my biggest blunder
so
of the
much
tournament.
fun. Yeah,
that was my biggest blunder of the tournament.
you're like, what do I do with these LM cards?
I looked an hour prior. I was on the fence if I wanted to come or not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll come. I look up the set because I do this every pre-release. If you ever want to go to pre-release and your goal is to do well, you should look at the set
Do it
and
take an hour out of your day and
Yeah.
just look at the cards
and be like, okay, this is good, this is good, this is bad, this is bad. It'll be very apparent.
Yeah.
Probably helps with experience. But anyways, looked at the set, got to the thing. I opened my first thing and I see a shiny card in the middle of my pack. That's not right.
You're like, what is this?
Oh, it's an LM card. Oh, I don't know any of the LM cards.
Yeah.
I hope they're not good.
Yeah.
But turns out some of them were pretty good.
It was kind of a shout throwback to me because in BT11 we did a pre-release and we had the campaign rares in there,
Yeah.
and so you're able to play this new format, but Hexablau and Commandramons and all these random cards,
Yeah.
and you're like, you got to use all these old cards again, but in a new format. It's always really interesting when they include cards that aren't just BT15.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Publamon we saw. I saw some people playing the Arbitmon Ace. I saw some people playing.
People were playing the Ryudomon, is it Ryudomon?
Yeah,
The level 3?
the black one. Yeah.
Yeah, because it actually works with the new Digipolice stuff. There was the level 4. I can't remember.
Yeah, the
Saruman.
Hisaru, yeah.
Like you could
It evos for cheaper on a Ryudomon or something like
that's
that.
another
And there was
small 2-card combo that.
so there was
people-
2 different Ryudomons in the set because
Yeah.
one was in the LM and one is the green black one. So
Right.
you could go a little consistency there, but yeah, man, pre-release was a lot of fun. I was able to take it from Nito. He punted a little bit.
You can't say it on air.
I feel bad because it reminds me of what Basil was talking about when he won Ultimate Cup. I had the Venom Iotismon on board, and he swung twice with the Magna, and I'm like, block. And he's like, oh, what makes it a blocker? I'm like, it's on the card.
Oh, that's another thing too.
Always feels bad. I'm like,
I definitely misplayed this pre-release, and this is another message. If you guys are still playing these, if you don't know what something does, ask
Yeah,
a lot,
yep.
ask as many times as you need,
Yeah.
and then ask even more.
Yeah, because it's not up to your opponent to be like, I'm gonna Digivolve Venom Iotismon and then read every one of his effects.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't know what it is, just ask, But shout out to Nito. That was a good heater, 3 matches for
But
the
you
for the
can't do the
win.
Diarrhytmon special where your opponent swings with Payton Dramon and then he gets blocked, and they say, "What gives that blocker?"
You're like, oh, it's on
Ooh.
the face. Yeah.
Can't take it back.
Yeah.
It's final table.
Yeah.
So. But
no, it was a lot of fun. It was a great pre-release. So
for what it's worth, though, Nito's still an amazing player.
Oh,
This is just
yeah.
one of the rare cases where you don't actually know what everything does,
Mhm.
right? So I'd imagine, especially since he's a person that plays the game a lot, he's not used to asking what everything does. Because
I think this was his first actual pre-release with the box format.
Oh yeah,
I know he played the 6-pack ones quite a bit, but I think this was his first one with the box. So it's I don't want to say intimidating because I think it's a little bit easier to deck build when you have the box, but it is also a lot more to think about rather than just
because
what are my worst 32 cards out of these 6-packs, But yeah, no, pre-release was a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, come down, Wayward City Games. I mean,
Yeah.
super fun. I don't think it's the best way to introduce a newer player to the
No,
game.
absolutely not.
But
No.
but it
You're
is
gonna
how
get
I got
crushed.
Basil into the
Yeah.
game. So sorry about that.
Any thoughts on
I
your
hate-
pre-release experience,
I
Basil?
hate pre-release. I don't like them. I don't like playing in them. I like building a deck of 50 cards because when I choose the 50 cards, it's the best 50 cards.
Okay.
Get this camera off me.
All right. So we do have another pre-release upcoming. It's kind of a combo deal. It's like the Beelzemon format where it's all of one color. So next month we have the Terriermon starter deck dropping. We just have new stuff after new stuff after new stuff coming.
I don't know if you're looking at my camera right now, but green only is kind of a really bad thing. I haven't played a green deck because there hasn't been a green. Well, okay, let me step back. Bloom Lordmon and Grand Koagumon, amazing green decks, but that was in BT9 and BT11 or whatever. Green, wow, what a weird color to force everybody on, because our local scene, I think there's like 2 green players, genuine green players.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's more lately for sure.
For sure.
Because Bandai's really gone out of their way to throw good cards at this color overhand. I mean, just Heavy Leomon, the Leopardmon X. You can just go on. The last 3 sets have just been heaters after heaters. The Bancho Leomon,
I think
was
Quantumon
really
is
good.
quite good.
Quantumon's insane. Like there's
This
so
was
many.
a while ago, but Quartzmon, yeah, they've been throwing
Quartzmon's still a great card.
all these
yeah.
top end cards, but our middle end is still a little bit weird.
I mean, if you look at our channel, especially the stuff we got coming up, there's been a lot of green decks. It's almost been just a 2-to-1 ratio overall for everything else. Like I can't remember the last time we put like a straight yellow deck on the channel,
Right.
or a straight blue deck. Like there's
every
been,
color eventually gets their heyday.
For
Again,
sure.
print enough colors in that archetype.
but I feel like Bandai really recognized that there was a big lull in green for a very long time,
Sure,
and so
sure.
they're like, here's Heavy Leomon. We'll put the best things on this card, and it goes in a lot of decks.
Goes
Or
in a
you
lot.
know,
I mean, it's just a really good top end. It slows
Yeah.
the game down a lot. It has protection, which is very rare for a green card. I mean, most green cards, I think. I'm trying to think of a prominent green card that has protection. Basil is not very
stewing.
happy.
He's
not very
fine.
happy.
We'll let the green guy sit over there in the corner.
He'll do the
one of
episode with the Terriermon pre-release, and he'll just
Yeah.
make fun of us, I think.
But yeah, so I'm curious to see how many people show up for this because I think I was out of town for the Beelzemon Cup, but then I thought about it and I was like, I'm not a purple player.
See you
And so
later.
I don't have a purple deck on hand. And so I don't know if I would go out of my way to build a purple deck. I'm not going to play just the starter deck by itself because it's not my preferred play type with all the trash interaction and just hoping. I mean, that's a gamble. That's a casino deck.
Well, you play gotcha, so it's kind of close.
Which leads me to my next thing with green because they announced this tournament and I opened up our video catalog. I'm like, what in the hell am I going to play? And I landed on my only green deck on the channel.
Yeah.
And it was gotcha. And then I was just like, okay, how can I update this? And I'm having so much fun with that deck because it's not necessarily casino. It's only casino 20% of the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just searching for the right pieces and you just know what you're doing. But so it's interesting. I don't know how many people just don't have a green deck in their back pocket or are interested in building green. You know,
I don't. So Basil. I think I need Bloom. is what I'm gonna say. That'll be my resolution for this tournament.
Or but how many people don't have a friend that just has an extra green deck laying around?
Exactly,
you know,
yeah.
so it's an interesting. I'm interested to see what the turnout's going to be like, especially considering the prizing, which we can.
Or it
jump.
might just be open format, depending on what your local game store decides to do, right?
I mean, technically, I think it has to be green only.
Oh.
If you're going by the rules. But we can jump into the prizing. The prizing is interesting. So I got to bring Basil in for this because if you didn't watch the episode where Basil got this card,
Chinese New Year, baby.
they're giving us the Chinese New Year promo. Hopefully,
So happy.
I'm hoping it's less foiled than that, so that one just stays awesome and
Yeah,
special.
yeah.
Because with pre-release cards, you never really know.
It's very
It's
50-50.
Koki, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Koki art. It's the Chinese New Year one, but you never know if they're going to foil it the same way or what they're going to do. It's
Yeah,
got
on
that-
the original card, there's like this firework in the background, and the streaks of firework are foiled. They look great.
they're all gilded gold foiled. Yeah.
Very, very fitting.
And this one's got the big goofy double Typhoon Cup stamp on it. So, I mean, it's good, but
Small side tangent. What do you think about those stamps on the cards? The double Typhoon. Do you like them or hate them?
I wasn't a big fan of I think the Beelzemon winner was obnoxious.
Yeah.
Where it said winner up the side, I was like, okay, this is obnoxious. Like, are you really going to play this?
A little bit much, right?
I think it's a little over the top. This is fine. I mean, it just shows that you went to the event and you participated. And that's the other thing is how many people are going to go to this event wanting these cards? Like I want to win. Like collectors will. Like I'm going to go because I need this card for my binder.
Well, it's also it's a memory floodgate.
Yep.
So have to play in the decks.
Yeah, so it's kind of a staple for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
But
How many people came to the shop specifically for the holiday Gabu and Agumons, right?
I think we had a pretty good turnout for that.
Right.
It wasn't too bad. But moving forward, we also have the winner card. So this is, I don't know, like it's kind of a who cares for me.
What?
Is this good, Basil?
The option?
No, not the
No.
option.
What's the winner card?
The winner card is the BT8 Terriermon. Yeah.
He doesn't even know
The
what that card
option is the
does.
ghost rare pull in
the box.
In the box,
Yeah.
yeah. This is the BT8 Terriermon. It's just the Koki art.
It's
with-
not. It's not very good.
Yeah, and it's got it's got this Typhoon stamp with a little crown on it. So it's less obnoxious than winner up the side.
I like the crown. That's a little bit
but
less obnoxious.
Judging from the prices of that winner card, this thing's gonna be worth nothing.
Yeah.
Because that winner card was actually playable in the deck for a while, and
Until it got hit, right?
until it got
Basically.
hit, yeah, and then it's just like,
The winner BLs?
yeah,
Did it get hit?
The deck got
the
hit,
deck,
not,
got
not
hit,
the card. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that card. It went from like people were posting it for like, I won, I got $300+ to, I think it's really cheap.
This is gonna be $5.
This is gonna be a cheap
I'm gonna
card.
hand this to you and say $5.
Yeah.
yeah. But if it was the other one, the chase card, the ghost rare, I think
Oh,
that would have been money.
That's a little different. Yeah.
That card looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
also
God.
a good card.
It's also a good
Yeah.
card.
So here we are. Thoughts on pre-release? Are you gonna go? Are you gonna? I guess you can call it double Typhoon Cup, but
Yeah, I like alternative formats. I try to go to as many of them as I can. I really like the Ultimate Cup with the the
With all the restrictions?
with all the restrictions, because it's creative deck building, and you kind of have to imagine what a format looks like when it has all these restrictions.
Yeah.
Green, I just don't have a green deck that I resonate with, which really sucks.
I think a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a roadblock for some people.
But, you know.
And they're going to be intimidated by the people that show up every week with green decks.
Yeah,
They're going to be like, I'm just not going to go because the green players know what they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really, really curious to see what the turnout for this is going to be. I hope it's great because I want to see, I want to see all the homies and I want to see all the people show up.
The good thing is, though, if history is a good metric, their last advanced deck, because this is an advanced deck, was very good.
Yeah.
So one of the best decks in the format, arguably one of the best. Like it's almost, I think it almost reached tier 0, where like top 16 at some of the tournaments were like 8 or 9 Beelzemons, which is insane.
Yeah.
So if that's any indication of how strong this deck is going to be, I mean, we have all the cards already, but I haven't really looked at it and gave it that big of a rundown.
I looked at the Rapidmon because it can go in Machine Dramon. That's the only card I've really paid
Machine
attention
Dramon
to.
just likes to steal pieces from different archetypes.
Yeah, it's
give
a
me
hodgepodge.
this.
It's a garbage disposal of a deck. I love it.
But I don't know. I'll probably show up because those advanced decks, I think, are going to be at least meta impactful. The cards in them are good. So we'll see if more people show up. This is a weird one for sure. This is because purple is a popular color.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
green, it's kind of different for
It's
sure.
It's more popular now than it has been in prior formats just due to the support, but I don't know. Moving on.
We'll see.
We talked about green enough. I do want to talk about this new tournament pack coming up because I think it's really interesting. I always think it's interesting when Bandai decides what they're going to put in these tournament packs.
Yeah.
Like what support they're going to give as far as alt arts, how far back they throw it. Because you'll see random cards. As someone that tries to keep my binders organized by BT sets, it's a nightmare when these come out because it's literally just, here's a new BT3 card. I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, let's go through how far, it's just.
How far is it? Well, and this one is particularly strange.
It goes so far back. So let's get into
let's go through them,
Let's go through it. So the participation, I think, is very interesting. So you have the Dark Dramon, which is the only good Dark Dramon, I think.
You know what? Perfect. I think Command Dramon's a popular deck that the top end deserves some love,
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome.
People have been waiting for this alt art for 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
This is a BT4 card, I think. This is the early one.
Yeah.
This is what made the deck popular and fun, was being able to play this, gain all the memory back, rush, do all the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that they picked that.
I mean, again,
but good for them.
It's good for them. I'm glad it's not being done in a way that isn't accessible. It always sucks because I really like all the event pack and the Ultimate Cup stuff. But I read a comment on some video, I can't remember, talking about how they're a Gallant player and they can't play in any of the Ultimate Cups, and they're really sad that they couldn't get it at their local game store. Like that's a fair complaint. So having alt arts come in participation or winners, or at least in a way that's like somehow accessible to the players that really like those decks, it's a good thing. But very strange cards. I mean, I think the Dark Dramon's fine.
Yeah.
But then we go on to the next card, which is
Elecmon.
Elecmon?
This is BT6. I can't. It's little.
It's BT6.
6 or
BT6.
whatever. I'm not a purple
The only
player.
reason why I know this card is because it's played in a Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
So-
Because it has on deletion.
Yeah, because they get destroyed by floodgates.
Yeah.
But weird card for them to put back. I'm not.
Not as weird as the next one.
Yeah.
Razenmon. This is a card. This is a archetype that I have not seen, and we have a crazy meta at Wayward. I will say that.
People give everything a shot.
Everything a representation. I have never seen, and shout outs to anybody that does. I'm looking at you. Bring Razenmon. We got the Pulsemon Tamer at pre-release. If somebody wants a play set, let's get you a play set and you build Pulsemon, Razenmon, Tribal. I want to see it because these cards look really good, but they're so underwhelming.
You know how Jeff, I don't remember what podcast it was, but he's like, win a regional with Justimon.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel about this card, but like even worse because I think even Justimon has some people that are trying to make it work.
When that deck rolls, it rolls. This thing, man.
Who was trying to make Rosinmon Fury Mode work?
It was so bad that they gave it more support. Like not this card, but there's the Rasenmon. And I don't know, man. This thing, it blows my mind that they're just like, here, take this card.
Usually they're nice with protagonist Digimon, and obviously this isn't like correlated to the show. It's correlated to the V bracelet. I think Elecmon is the mascot of that.
Yeah.
But like, man, this sucks. This card is terrible.
That's that's one you rip open after locals, and you're like, God. I don't want
this for people that played and wasn't even a pre-release in BT8, but if there was this playable in BT8?
No, that's what I'm saying. I've been playing since this card came out. This isn't even. I mean, there's another one. There's the regular Rasenmon they came out with, and then this came out in a subsequent set.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we're gonna make it. It's never been represented once, and we play some crazy stuff. Jeff hasn't even built this deck.
Yeah, and that's probably indicative of a card being horrible. Cards that are vanilla are better than this, which is
for
insane.
sure. But yeah, I mean, if you can try and figure that out with that new Pulsemon Tamer, I guess we'll boogie and figure it out. But I don't know.
Send us a list with Rosinmon Fury Mode.
Yeah,
we'll try
for sure. Now let's get into a more represented card. We have the Mamemon. This is the classic. This is the there's an event pack of this already that I think looks really good. Be interesting to see. I mean, these are going to be participation cards, so you know they're not going to be textured. So it does have the treatment. Looks like it's foiled, just based on the borders of what they show you. So whether or not this is going to be better than the event pack, I'd have to see them side by side. But I really like the event pack.
The event pack ones were good. I mean, event pack cards, in my opinion, I think some people have a different take on the way they take the direction of the event pack cards, but I really like a lot of the event pack cards.
Some of them are more impactful than others. I think the ones with the black border, like black cards, having the black border is really impactful. I really, really like what they did with the Flame Hell Scythe, where they split the border with the two colors.
So
I think
sick.
it's really cool how they did that. The yellow cards, the Lonk looks good.
I think the red border on the EP cards look amazing. You know what's crazy? This is a super tangent. I'm sorry, but I opened like 25 EP5 cards. I haven't seen a single Gravity Crush. Just give me some crushes, man. But I can't even complain anymore.
Well, we're done with those now.
Oh, that's Gravity Crush.
Okay,
this guy's.
He
flexing
said,
on
"Hey,
me.
we're getting." Oh, there it is.
Oh, I just haven't seen a single one in person, and this guy just has them all.
All right, quit showing off, Basil.
Anyways,
back in the corner. All right. So the Mamemon, you know, it's represented more. I mean, it was kind of one of those cards people played in Diaboromon. It was one of those filler cards where you're like, this would be better than not playing it in this horrible deck. But GGmon, it's amazing. And there's a lot of rogue decks that this goes in.
Very splashable card.
Yeah.
Just has a really generic effect. Generic enough where people are really creative and start trying to like, hey, I think it could work in here. I think it could work in here.
Seems a little too late though, because it seems like there's cards that are just there's other ways to play a lot of Black Tamers for free now. Yeah. This was when this originally came out, it was one of the only ways to play Black Tamers for free generically. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm glad it's getting another art. Cool.
I don't think is EX1 Metal Edamon as someone that's building this. I'm gonna jump in Basil here again.
This is the bad Edamon.
This is the bad one. Okay.
Oh.
You heard it there first, folks. That one is that's a no-go. I'm not a monkey player, so I don't know. What do you think?
It's another level 6 in a deck that I think if you like it, you really like it. Like you have to go out of your way. This is definitely. Is it a fan favorite? I don't know.
It's a fan favorite for some, for sure. A lot of people have been playing the Numamon, Manzemon stuff.
But this collection of things outside of the last card, which we'll get to in a second, is just cards for people that are playing. Okay, Elecmon is because of Foclemon, I guess. Japan saw a lot of this being played.
Dark Dramon's for Commandramon.
Dark Dramon's for Commandramon.
Deep Police, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
And then Rosinmon, weird, but fine.
Yeah, I think that Japan just has some of these backlogs of alt arts we don't have. And this is
their way of getting
this is the dumpster that they throw them, and they're just like, new TP. What alt arts don't they have?
Yeah, but
yet,
like the Dark Dramon is just a borderless Dark Dramon, right? That's the same art as the old one, no?
Yeah, but it's foiled, so it'll be shiny. Whereas you had to get this pre-release, and BT4 back then, if you don't know, pre-releases were not foiled. They had a obnoxious gold gilded stamp on them. and it said pre-release, but they were not foiled. So it's
not foiled.
no. So it's
no.
it's a different beast. So I know Commander Dramon players will be very appreciative to have
Yeah,
that.
and probably. Well, we just got told it was bad, so hopefully the Edamon players really like this card.
Sure.
Again, it's another alt art for a weird, obscure deck that is okay.
When I first opened this picture, when I saw it on Bandai's website, I was just like, "Oh, Palmumon, that's awesome! We're gonna
Sick.
get the floodgate because I want alt arts of floodgates
Alt
because
arts, they're timeless.
they're
right?
timeless. They're gonna be used forever until they get power crept out or until they start printing floodgate things on higher Digimon, which is terrifying. Don't do it.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But
don't do that.
I was like, "Oh, what a cool art for the
Pomu.
Pomu, don't play Digimon by effects." And then I read it and I'm like, it's not that one. This is going to be a card for Basil, not for me.
Basil's happy.
Well, it's too little, too late, Bandai. You released this in BT15, and it's replaced by Palmon X.
Oh, well, you heard
On
it there.
play and when Digivolving, suspend something. And as an inheritable, gain a memory.
Just getting power crept out.
Yeah, it's just it's going to be an interesting tournament pack. I think by far and wide TP10 was probably the best one we've seen in a while.
The one with the security rookies?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
That
I think
one
every
was-
single art is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Those security rookies look awesome.
So
Some of
much
them-
so that it screws over people that did really well at Nats
Yeah.
with those gold ones.
These gold ones, I'm just looking at them like, man, these are ugly. give me alt arts.
Give me the TP10 participation pack cards.
If they just like gave me a foil of the TP10 participation,
or with a
maybe,
gold
like,
border or
yeah,
something.
like a gold border and those arts, ooh, money. But no, I just have the circuit board background that they use for everything that they don't care about.
Yeah.
Okay, that's me being a little annoying, but
Hey, you can say whatever you want, buddy. You earned them.
but man,
Judge 'em,
these
yeah.
the TP10 ones look so much better. There's no other way to say it. But anyways,
All right, let's jump into the winter cards. We'll go through these pretty quick. We're going to start off with the heater because we just talked about it.
Yeah.
We got an alt art of a floodgate. Let's
Nice.
go. Cute
nice.
Mon.
Cute Mon.
Beautiful. I love it. They're on the right track here. It's a great artwork. You know, can't reduce can't reduce Digivolution cost, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is your training inhibitor.
Yeah.
So I've seen this in a lot. I played in Lord Knight. I played in a couple
Yeah.
yellow decks. It's a great card. So I was really happy to see this. It looks like these are going to be foiled too. So we've been down that road too, where they're like, here's winter cards, and they're not foiled. They've done
really
that too.
annoying, by the
Stop
way.
doing that, Bandai. I'm glad that it looks like we're not doing that. And then we got Leomon X. So
Good,
if you
yeah.
guys haven't looked at Jeff's Leomon deck profile, it's coming out.
I'm gonna give 4 of these to Jeff whenever I get him.
Yeah, he'll. And then the Shoutmon is really interesting because the Shoutmon was this same artwork, but without the cool background, the blue with that
Yeah.
crappy silver foiling stuff.
It's like the second worst background next to the circuit one. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's the one they've used for everything, whether it's the Stingmon
Yeah.
or the Agumon or whatever. There's always
whatever winner's card, and it just ends up looking worse.
it's always just like we need to design a pre-release card. This is Tony's responsibility. Oh, Tony has the day off. Silver background. Or he called out
just
sick.
remove
Yeah.
the cool part about it, and then just like make it air. I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we don't have time to design another art. So now
Shoutmon's getting a lot of arts for some reason. You got the EP5, you had the pre-release, and now this one, which is
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
so it's a toss out to those cross players. I mean,
Yeah.
it's-
You can have one of each old one. You can have a pre-release. You can have this, the winners one of this pre-release,
yeah.
and then the EP5 one.
This is
Perfect.
definitely better than the pre-release. I don't even have this card in hand, but I do have the pre-release winner card in hand,
It doesn't
and
look very
it doesn't look very
good.
good. So I'm excited for Basil when this comes out because he's our local cross player out of this room. And then Balmon. This is Beelzemon stuff. I'm not a Beelzemon player. I don't know if this goes in the deck. Basil. Basil says it's the bad Balmon.
So unlucky there. I wonder what their philosophy is, because looking at these cards, I'm like, oh, is it like a cross theme? Because you have the Shoutmon, the Cutemon, and kind of Leomon.
Like I said, man, I think it's just a Neapolitan of just
they just like roll a dice and like
throw in stuff. I think that there's probably a bigger method to the madness in Japan when they come out. I think that they probably come out in some kind of coherent set. but you can just look at the numbering on
the
promos.
security
and stuff,
rookies
and-
made sense for the participation.
Yeah, that was great.
It's great. I mean,
Loved
it makes cohesive sense, and you need those cards. Cool,
Yeah.
sick.
And hopefully, fingers crossed, when we do get global distribution, then we'll get global, hopefully, tournament kits and tamer party stuff. Because a lot of that stuff's really weird. Like some of it, the English, like some of the tamer party stuff, the English representation of those just has really bad distribution in the United States. It'll go crazy in Latin America, and they'll get tons of it. But up here, it'll just go to like certain shops or certain coasts. Like sometimes it'll just be the East Coast that gets it, just based on
those
from a collector
Chaosmons,
that has to find these cards for my binder. It's just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna wait 6 months for this to come from Ecuador or something. Like
it's kind of miserable because this is one of the only. I'm not a max rarity guy. I'm not a collector in any way, shape, or form. But the Imperial Dramons from the beginning Tamer Pack 1 or whatever, those look phenomenal. Those cards are so pretty. But we just don't get them, and
they're really hard to find. Yeah, like some shops will just get like one pack just randomly put into their box of their allocation.
And that's why, I mean, if you look it up, I haven't looked at the prices in a while, but I think the Shackmon was like Shakomon was like $20.
Yeah,
and the Imperial Dramon is like $25. It's like
we just didn't get that many of them.
Yeah, it's a brutal thing, especially if you're a collector. If you just like blinging out your deck with the best arts,
or if you just like the art better. Like a big one is like if you're a Machine Dramon player and you like that Turbo Tank Dramon,
right?
Like that thing was a nightmare to get when it first came out because we just didn't get that Tamer Party kit
at all
anywhere that I knew. So it's really interesting to see how they hopefully once we're aligned with Japan, we're actually aligned with Japan in more more
ways than
just
the actual
sets.
set. Yeah. Here's hoping. Like I said earlier about alt arts, especially, I get it because it's a card game and pricing. You want to make it really cool and kind of limited, but at the same time, especially for these Tamer Party stuff, because I don't think they're like intentionally made to be like hard to find. It's supposed to be like every shop should get them. I
think the Tamer Party stuff is supposed to be participation for getting new players into the shop. I think that's how Bandai originally kind of geared those events, because they're not tournaments, they're participations for just people showing up and learning the game or something like that.
We don't really have those, or at least I don't know if it's just our local scene, but
usually people show up and they buy a starter deck and that's how they start. And then we try and help them and say, hey, that's a great starter deck, but here's some cards you can get that are cheap that you can throw in, and you kind of build from there. And then all of a sudden, the way the game seems to work is you end up learning what you like when you play against it. You're like, oh, that was really cool, and then you pick that deck up, and then all of a sudden you'll play, and then you'll be like, oh, I like that, and it's just kind of this. You learn from playing rather than just like. But there are some people that just play their favorite Digimon that are just Digimon fans. I'm not that way. I just play with my preferred play style because there's so many different ones now.
Yeah, the way people get in this game is strange, because I got into it because it's like I saw a starter deck of a Digimon. I'm like, wow, this franchise that I loved when I was a kid has a card game. I wonder if it's any good.
Yeah.
Picked up 2 starter decks and I played it, and I'm like, wow, this is a lot more. I was genuinely surprised when I first got into this game. It's like, wow, this is sick. I've played a lot of card games before, but I've never seen such a cool ebb and flow with the memory system, and I was like immediately hooked. But I don't know if that's like the common way people get into the game, right?
That's not the way I got into it, but because I've never watched any Digimon or I didn't really know anything about the IP. I just really fell in love with the resource system. I think that the memory system is amazing. The fact that you don't have cards that are your memory system.
Yeah.
I mean, I played Magic, I played Star Trek, I played Star Wars, I played all kinds of stuff, and a lot of those are just like
have a resource. You have a
this is your card, this is your mountain, this is your all that crap. You go through all of that stuff, but it's nice when it's just on your mat.
Yeah.
And you just manage it that way.
Sick.
It's awesome. So that's going to wrap it up for our upcoming tournaments. We have everything TP5 or TP12s coming up. We have the pre-release for pre-release / Double Typhoon Cup coming up. So we got those to look forward to, and then we have cards of the week to look forward to. So we'll jump into that. I'll let you go first. I'll go second, and then we'll put Basil last because he's that little tiny box over there.
Well, I think. This is kind of about all the new stuff. I think this deck was a little bit incomplete prior to this. think Leomon is one of the coolest archetypes they've ever released.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big purple player at all until I had to pick up Anubis for Nats. But Binding Crush, I think, is my card of the week.
I love that.
That card is sick.
It's
what
really
a
good.
cool card because it's not just removal.
Yeah.
It's removal and then has this awesome, really thematic effect that perfectly represents what Leviamon's about.
Yeah.
Play something by an effect. Leviamon comes out, eats your board. What a cool card. And by proxy, Leviamon will give you 2 memory back. So you're paying a ton of resources into this one big kill spell.
Yeah.
So if your opponent is a single stack deck and it gets deleted by Binding Crush, it's not just like prior to where I Mega Death your Machine Dramon.
Yeah.
Or I, full meteor moon impact, whatever the Galgamon removal option is.
Yeah.
But those were pay to something, delete something. That's it. Binding Crush. Randomly, it's like, oh no, my next turns are really hard if I'm playing a deck that does its condition. And now that it has all the BT15 stuff, I think the deck is really, really cool. What a cool archetype. That's all I gotta say.
My first impression of Binding Crush was, okay, like that's fine, but what if you play against a deck that doesn't play Digimon by effects?
Yeah.
Like when I read that card, I was like, cool, Machine Dramon's going to eat this for dinner because I don't play Digimon by effects. Who cares?
Yeah,
That's going to sit on your board forever. And then I go and I test against Leviamon, and they play the card that's like, play Digimon out of your trash. You're like, oh shit.
No.
Like, no, you can make me play Digimon by effect? This is bad.
I think purple too is not like a super Megazug style deck. I mean, there's some purple cards that do exactly that. But cheating out a Leviamon is awesome.
Yeah,
it's like,
I was not ready for that. I was just like, oh crap! So now I have to watch what I have in trash.
Yeah.
Make sure I don't have a level 3 for
no,
you. For
no level 3, no level 4. Don't play anything. And
Don't.
now you have to like think about your board state.
Yeah.
And now all the new support kind of it's coming full circle, right? The deck is now complete. I think the strategy is a lot more real. I guess
For
it
sure.
has 2 really good lines, and now Binding Crush just fits perfectly. And it's sick that it works with any Demon Lord. So you can also play different Demon Lords in the top end because it's conditioned to play on the field.
And you can pitch 7th Cluster, right? As it's a Demon Lord card.
I didn't even think about that.
You
but
can pitch 7th Cluster and put it in your trash to activate it because I think Demon Lord's in the traits for that option, which is wild.
Yeah.
So you're right. That is a fantastic card.
Yourself?
Myself, hopefully this isn't the one that Basil's going to pick, but I'm going first, so who cares? I'm going to pick it's a card that I never thought would be power crept out. It was something I was waiting for an alt art for the past, 2 years. EX1 Hagurumon. Rest in peace, EX1 Hagurumon. The new one is insanely better.
Which is crazy.
It's wild. I mean, we were begging for that alt art for that really popular EX1 card forever, but the new BT15 Hagurumon is insane. Find your man and a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it can find pretty much anything. It doesn't have to be level 5. You don't have to pitch anything. It's just play it for 3, grab 2 very important pieces of your deck.
Yeah.
So
The first time you play Hagurumon and you grab a Chaos Dramon and an Analog Man, you're just like, ooh,
well, it's boogie. Yeah.
go time.
I thought that something that strong that would have put like a 1-cost Evo or something, but it's still, I mean, you start your hand with 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not looking bad. You can Evo 1, get a draw, play the other one, look at 2, and inheritable reboot.
Phenomenal.
Come on.
More
what else do you need out of a
keywords
rookie
on
for machine?
rookies
Yeah.
that do searches. I think it really reminds me of the BT12 Vmon. I don't know when that card's gonna get power crept, but it does. It searches a free, grabs a Davis, and has an amazing inherit.
Yeah.
I think rookies with that that formula is going to be a lot more common because it's kind of needed for the slower decks, especially.
Yeah.
But that card is phenomenal.
It's crazy. So not only does it replace your Hagurumons, not only does it find you 2 pieces on play, but it
less reboot
also
cards.
it also replaces some level. It gives you more room in your level 5 spot because you don't have to run as many reboot cyborgs.
Yeah, which was like a pretty important part.
Absolutely, yeah.
You needed to swing. You needed to put pressure. A lot of your things was like the condition is met when you're swinging, right, with machine. And having that on your level 3 instead of a level 5 means you just play less of the level 5s that have reboot.
Yep, and you can play more aggressive, or you can play more techie if you want. You know, more swing and delete Tamers, more swing and delete Digimon, more de-Digivolve with the new Mega Dramon.
That
like,
card's also sick.
ooh, so yeah,
Machine players
Hagurumon,
eating good.
Yeah, so no longer, which it's kind of funny because I feel like with the tournament pack distribution now, I feel like in TP14 they'll be like, guys, EX1 Hagurumon, we're gonna give you an alt-art. You're welcome. You're gonna be like, who
Surely
cares?
not.
Yeah. All right, Basil.
We alluded to it earlier. This is another pour one out card of the week. Pour one out for EX3 Pomu and EX3 Hydramon. They're both power crept this set. EX3 Pomu is replaced with Palmon X just in time for the tournament pack card, and Hydramon is replaced by Quantumon.
So you got two?
Yeah, those are my two. They were amazing cards in the deck for a very long time, and I love those cards, and they will no longer be in my Bloomlord deck.
Yeah, but
so,
see you later.
thank you for your service, EX3, Pomu, and Hydramon.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap it up for us this week. So thank you again, Justin, for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Of
This
course,
was a really good time.
anytime. So we'll catch you guys next week. We got some locals this week. I think the first locals for us with BT15 is going to be on Sunday.
Yep.
So hopefully I'll see you there.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy.
We gonna